The Buddha say, you must first train your sati or mindfulness using your kaya. So under the first foundation of mindfulness, you're supposed to develop the mindfulness of various parts within your kaya. So the first category of cultivation is the Buddha taught anapanasati. This anapanasati is to develop mindfulness of the breath, the in and out breath. That's why anapana is in and out breath. Then sati is mindful of the in and out breath. So when you train this way, maintain awareness of the in and out breath, means like the Buddha's instruction, breathing in, aware, breathing out, aware. You don't think. You develop awareness of the breath. That's why you are with the moment in full awareness without thought. And that will develop the stability of mindfulness or awareness within. So you have to do it until it stabilizes. Then until the anapanasati become very, very quiet, very still, like no more movement. Then you just silence everything to develop the more refined awareness within. Then later on, if you are patient enough and you can develop the awareness of the subtle breathing, then even this subtle breathing will become prominent to you later on when your mindfulness has reached that level of refinement, born of constant cultivation of anapanasati. Then the mind will be in sati, or we call the mind enter sati. Is whatever you want to be aware, you just allow this mind that has entered sati or in sati to be aware. Wherever you locate this mind, the awareness will be there. So that's how you develop the heedfulness, ever mindful. They use that heedfulness to cultivate the meditation as taught by the Buddha, which is mainly the cultivation of the Noble Eightfold Path. So when you do this, the Buddha called it heedfulness, the constantly meditative and ever mindful. This is heedfulness. Then under Dhammapada verse 23 is it, the constantly meditative and ever mindful and steadfast one. They will realize the supreme enlightenment, Nibbana. Definitely. That's why that is what heedfulness is all about. The moment you are heedful, like Dhammapada verse 21, heedfulness is the path to the deathless. The heedful never die. Means you realize the deathless element. Then heedlessness is the path to the dead. The heedless are as if dead. That's why you don't train your mind to be heedful. You are as if dead. You don't stand a chance. Spiritually, you don't stand a chance. Then after you have skillfully developed the ability to be mindful of the in and out breath, or develop the sati until your mind enters sati, then you can move on to daily mindfulness, starting with the four postures, like the Buddha mentioned under the second category of practice of kayanupassana. He said standing aware, walking aware, sitting aware, lying down aware. So these are the four postures. You anchor your mindfulness to the kaya first. Then when you can do that already, you are more stable already. Then you can connect up all the connecting moments. That's why the third category of practice is to develop mindfulness and clear comprehension of all action or movement in the present moment. So in the Kayanupassana Sutta, is described as standing aware, looking forward aware, bending, stretching, turning aware, putting on your clothing or monk's robe, shoulder clothing aware. Whatever you do aware, blinking of your eye aware, turning of your hand when you walk aware. Then whatever that goes on, you develop awareness. then even answering nature's call away. So this is the third category of mindfulness of kaya training. If you do this, your daily mindfulness will stabilize and you will become very different. You will start to see a lot of things that you never see before. That's why kayanupassana is very powerful. Only after you have done these three, then you start the fourth, cultivation. You use that mindfulness, the stability of mindfulness that you have established, to develop mindfulness of the four elements of this body. Makes you aware that there are these four elements that makes up of this body. That's why I always say, this body goes the way of nature. Why? Because it is made up of elements which are from nature. That's the reason why under the 5 daily contemplation, the Buddha said, this body of ours is of the nature to decay or grow old, get sick, and finally die. For it has not gone beyond decay, always sickness and death. So understanding this is very important. Then you will not cling to this body because it's not you. It's without the consciousness. How can it be you? Element goes the way of nature. So we say the four elements are ways to simplify this physical body. Within the physical body, we have the element of earth or Parthavi, where there is hardness, solid form. We call it Parthavi, the earth element. And Tejo, which is heat element. That's why we have bodily temperature, 98.4, and all the others. Heat within our body to maintain life. Then we have Apo. Apo is the water element, or what we call cohesion. Then finally is Vayu, which is wind element. Because within our physical body, we have the Chi, the wind element, our breath, our life force, our pulse of life, and everything that vibrates within this form and mind. That's how it maintains our posture. Without this wind element, we cannot stand straight. We cannot maintain our this whatever posture. Of course, we need the backbone and all those things. We need the supporting leg and other things. But the wind element is very important. Because without that, there is no life, no breathing. Your heart cannot beat, cannot pump. Then you cannot take in prana or oxygen from the environment. Then you cannot excrete through the nostril too. So the wind element is very vital for life. So when you contemplate these four elements, you will come to know that this four element goes the way of nature, is on the way to decay, is impermanent, depending on condition. That's why we go through life, the four phases. When we are born, we have the child, very beautiful first phase of formation of the body, with all the organ, everything. Then we grew into an embryo, then into a baby, then a child. Then we become a youth. Then we continue to grow until we reach adulthood. Then we plateau off. We will start to get old, get sick. And finally, the body goes the way of nature. It dies, separate from the consciousness. And you cannot do anything to it. Where the life force is gone, there is nothing to sustain it or nourish it. The organ has failed. And there is no more condition to sustain life. Then you will come to know, basically, these four elements are impermanent, empty, not real, not what you think. They go the way of nature. And Then if it's only element, no knowing, how can it be you? So this contemplation is very useful. It's tied to the first three of the 5 daily contemplation. Then after that, we have the fourth category of practice. The 4 element is the fourth. Then we have the fifth, the 32 parts of the body. You're supposed to visualize and recite the 32 parts. When these 32 parts come together, then it will have the causes and conditions to be animated with the life force, everything, to become a human being that has life. That's why the form and mind, nama, rupa, arise. Then you will start to know, like the bullock cart, what they call analogy that the Buddha gave. He told the monk, you look at the bullock cart, what do you see? They say bullock cart. Okay. So he said, take the parts away, the wheel, the axle, the carriage and all those things. Then lay them down. What do you see? The bullock cart is gone. No more bullock cart. Then the Buddha said, okay, assemble them back. Then he asked them, what do you see? Bullock cart again. So what is your understanding? When the causes and conditions are there, then all these parts come together and allow it to become a concept that performs a function. Then you give it a name. You label it as something, a car or a block car. So arise already, exists already. If you deludedly blink and growl thinking that it's real, then you have been foolish. Because these are conditioned arising phenomena or entity. When all the condition is dispersed, when the part is no more, it doesn't perform the function. It loses its entity. Then you say, gone or die. So actually, these are delusions of the mundane mind, the human mind, that doesn't have the wisdom and the understanding. But if you have mindfulness, you can see them. They are made out of parts. Any of this part is gone. Very difficult for you to survive. Nowadays, maybe with progress in modern science, you can actually help you to do the transplant, transfusion, to replace whatever lacking or whatever that is not functioning. So this is what the 32 part teaching is all about. Then the other thing is to actually mindfully look at these 32 parts. They are not what you think. Some of these 32 parts are very filthy, full of this, like the mucus, the excreta, the phlegm, and everything that is inside your body, your intestine, your sweat, your urine, your whatever discharge. So all this show to you that this body is impure. That's why Mahayana like to use this when they contemplate. So impurity of this body. So those with lustful character, or those who cannot understand the 3 universal characteristics, they will resort to this type of contemplation. Like Master Shenhua, he liked to use this word. Our physical body is like a filthy skin bag of filth wrapped inside. They are not what you think. So when you constantly contemplate, that you don't see the beauty of the form. You no longer develop the craving, the attachment to this youthful form when you are young, when you are healthy, just like the flower. When it starts to bloom, the fragrance the blooming of the flower is so beautiful, but finally, when causes and condition is gone, and it fails to what they call flower, that it will decay, it will degenerate. Then you see the whole flower wither off and become very filthy. So the process of impermanence with mindfulness, you start to observe and see a lot of things has this characteristic. We call it doesn't last, ephemeral. That is an English word. And apart from that, the Buddha taught the sixth category of cultivation of kayanupassana. This sixth one is the 9 stages of cemetery decomposition of the physical body when a being dies, when a human being dies or an animal dies. So what is that? You are mindful, you are aware, you will know. It's just a consciousness that's separate from the physical body. Then the two get separated. They say, you die. Because without the consciousness, it cannot pump the heart. There is no life force. You cannot become conscious. You cannot animate into a human being. You cannot create thought process. You cannot arise the feeling, aggregate, and all those things. That's why you need the consciousness, the life force, and the physical body all in appropriate working condition. So these three, when it comes together, then it animates the human being or living being like it is alive. That's the reason why our form and mind is dependent, originating, condition arising. It come together because of these three conditions. And when these three conditions disperse, then the being is gone. So the 9 stages of cemetery decomposition is to let you understand when this physical body is devoid of consciousness, it goes the way of nature, the elements disperse. Then finally, when the element disperse, what happened to you? This body go the way of nature. That's why finally, from dust to dust, you return to dust. Why? Upon that, the wind element is gone, then followed by heat element. Where no life force, there is no heartbeat, no wind element, then there is also no more heat because that body will become cold very fast. So when the heat element and the wind element no more, the earth element will actually deteriorate because there is no more heat inside there. Of course, sometimes it becomes cold and harder than all things. But the water element will start to ooze out. Then even your stool, you cannot hold, your urine, you cannot hold, the muscle all gone. That's why you see the decay process. Then that physical solid body starts to decay. Then over time, it gets like eaten by these birds or whatever that come and feed on it. Then it get the flesh all gone, left with the bone. Then the bone also over time will decay. That's why finally it become dust, blown away. So this is for you to see the unreality of form. Form is not real, not what you think. Form is dependent, originating, condition arising, also will make out the 4 elements. So when the 4 element is gone, means finally the water element, the earth element also gone. Then without the 4 elements, who are you? The human being is no more. So that's how you contemplate. Then you develop the understanding not to be deluded by this physical body. This is to allow people to develop wisdom.